Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share 5 podcasts with you guys all about investing. So recently I listen a lot of podcasts, whether I'm on the way or I'm just at home and doing something else. I think podcast is a way to absorb knowledge, especially nowadays we look at the screen all the time, and it's good to relax our eyes but still absorb the same information. And I also find it helpful because a lot of professional experts, they may not have a time to write a book or make a video, but they can always set up the phone call with the host and make a podcast. So I think it's easier to access the information from the professionals. It's like to attend a Zoom meeting, talk about some of the topics freely. So these 5 podcasts are the ones I like the most. So the first podcast is called Value Investing with Legends. It was done by the Columbia University. The podcast host was Professor Tano Santos. And very interesting, Tano Santos is currently teaching value investing at the Columbia University. That is the class that Graham has previously teaching and also the class that Warren Buffett has attended. So in this podcast, Tano Santos will talk with some of the experts in the industry. In the recent episode, he invited Howard Marks, which is an investment expert specifically focusing on the fixed income field. I think as a host, Professor Santos' question is very high quality as also easy to absorb. Even for someone like me who is not a professional, can easily understood what they are talking about. The second podcast I would like to listen is by Morningstar. It's called Investing Insights. It mainly talks about the recent hot topics, and it's more fundamentals and beginner friendly. So, for example, in the recent episode, I learned that if we have made an investment for more than 365 days, which is 1 year, we can actually pay less tax. Previously, although I know that long-time investors can have some tax benefits, but I don't know the specific date. So by listening to this Morningstar's program, I can get some basic knowledge about investing, not just about how to allocate the capital or select stocks, but more about general terms, such as investment in different asset class and even some knowledge about tax. The third podcast I would like to recommend is called the Meb Faber Show. I know this host because I previously read his book, Invest with a House, that is talking about how we can learning from those investment gurus by looking at the 13 F's that they will submit to SEC every quarter. So I think in this podcast, I can always get some investment ideas, and I find the quality is much better because Meb Faber always invite some top professionals in this industry. So I feel like their conversation will give me a broader pictures about investing. It's more than what we see on the CNBC, I think. The fourth podcast I would like to listen is called Capital Allocators. The host name is Ted Says. So recently I listened to his podcast about Morgan Housel. It's called The Psychology of Money. Morgan Housel has also written this book has the same name. I find it's very interesting because it's not just talks about the strategies, but also talk about how psychology has to play an important role in investing. And as for the host Ted, when I'm doing some research, I find it's very interesting because in 2017, that Warren Buffett has announced he won a bet with someone about the performance of S&P 500 versus the 5 top hedge fund. That this guy says has accepted the offer and has got to bet with Warren Buffett. At the end, although he lost it, that means at the end of the 10 years, S&P 500 actually performs better than the 5 top hedge funds selected. But I also find it's very interesting that he has the courage to take the challenge and has a bet of 10 years with Warren Buffett. Last but not least, the podcast I like is called Invest Like the Best. It was hosted by Patrick O'Shaughnessy, who is also the founder of asset management companies, also have interest in the venture capital. So in his podcast, I think part is about investing and part is about venture capital. I feel like there's some similarities about the venture capital as well as the stock market. As they are the primary market versus the secondary market, it sounds different, but in terms of like choosing the companies or choosing the industry and win for the future, I think there's a lot of similarities. And for me, I'm always interested in the startup companies, so I think this podcast gives me a lot of the hottest topic in this area, and I really enjoy the show too. So that's my top 5 podcasts that I enjoy for now. What investing podcast or any other podcast you guys like to listen, please let me know, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.